SHS. That is what we call all lies be lies.
The media activity is the precursor. What the Dafiama rate is seeking to do essentially is to reset the ideological position of the Ghana Bar Association, and that's going to be very difficult. There's a reason why. The Ghana Bar Association, or many bar associations for that matter, have certain principles and philosophies they stand for. They stand for human rights, fundamentally. They stand for fair trial. They stand for a judicial system that is independent of executive. Every bar association stands for that because these are lawyers and that is their practice. And their practice will be compromised if there are no human rights, if there are no rules of courts that allow everyone to be heard and clear rules of courts, if there are no independent judges, their work will be jeopardized. Their work is also very important in shaping democracy. By reason of this, you have had all the bar associations of the world almost automatically aligning with right-wing political parties. Because this ethos also you will find fundamental to right-wing political parties, human rights, fundamental to right-wing political parties, independence of the judiciary, fundamental to right-wing political parties. And all of those rights that the Ghana Bar Association fights for, it is also the rights that right-wing parties look at. So if you look at the Ghana Bar in particular, it makes it even worse. It was established way back, but its ethics and code documentation was in 1958. Think about 1958. It's 1 year after independence. Think about the struggles that led us to independence. Look at Ghana's situation in 1958 of a right-wing and a left-wing party. Who are the people who are dreaming up this Ghana Bar Association charter? J.B. Dankwa. And so it immediately polarizes the situation. What is the Ghana Bar Association going to look for? Human rights. What is the fundamental anti-human rights regulation in Ghana at the time? Preventive Detention Act. The Bar Association takes a major position against the PDA. Dankwa is arguing in court against the PDA. He's also president of the bar from 1962 and 1963. So the bar is positioned as if it is locking horns with the Nkrumah administration of the left. Okay, the coup comes in 1966. The bar is still there. Many of the important civilian actors in the coup are senior members of the bar. Akufo-Addo becomes Chief Justice. Olenu and all of these left, right-wing lawyers. They are Victor Owusu and others. These are important members of the bar throughout the 60s, Bosman and co., who are now part of the civilian part of the coup, sort of, and railroading Ghana into another constitutional establishment to be led by Buzia. So Buzia comes in, and then there's 1 or 2 brushes with the cases in court relating to the 578. And then comes the Buzia's overthrow, and it comes another left-wing military government running through the 70s. The Ghana Bar Association constitutes itself from 1974 towards 75, almost as an opposition to Akufo-Addo's, Achampon's government. Dr. Beda Samoa, people like Akufo-Addo and all that, were all in parts of the PMFJ. That was largely propagated by the Ghana Bar Association. Right. Now you come crossover to the election, and then to the 80s, Rawlings takes office. Rawlings is also left-leaning in appearance, and it's a military government. Again, for the whole decade, the Ghana Bar Association stands tall. And who are the members and the leaders of the Ghana Bar Association? Peter Ala-Ajete, president of the Ghana Bar. Later on, chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Samuel Okujeto, member of the New Patriotic Party. Kwashi from Takoradi, another member of the New Patriotic Party. All of these people are principal political actors on the right side of the politics and are leading the bar. So again, the bar is seen as opposed to, sort of and then the NDC is born out of the PNDC. So NDC starts, and it looks like the bar is kind of against them and that kind of thing. Whilst I say this, I have to say, though, for Nana Akufo-Addo in 1995, that he was nominated and being asked to be president of the bar in 1995. He declined. His view of the matter was very similar to what Onago is saying, that he's a politically exposed lawyer by leaps and bounds. And he doesn't want to be president of the bar after Ajete and Kunyi and all of these people. And so he's not interested because he's going to run for parliament and he'll be an MPP member of parliament. So that said, the people may not be frontline politicians, and that's the crisis. The people in the bar may not be frontline politicians. But by reason of Nena Megache, for instance, is a former Supreme Court judge, you can't say he's a frontline politician, even though he works for Samuel Kujet. So he's not a frontline politician. But if you can tell ideologically that he's more leaning towards right? Maybe by reason of his legal practice, because for the legal practice to be successful, all those fundamentals must be in there, and these are the ethos that the right to inquire is for. So what has happened, and you heard it in the press conference that, in the interview that Felix Ofosu-Kwakye gave to Bernard Abele earlier in the year, where he said that for 30 years the courts have been against the NDC. This is a conversation. This is the kinds of things that have been established. The bar is always going to be seen as opposed to a left-wing government. It's everywhere in the world it's going to be. So what this writ is intending to achieve, and all the media, visiting acting chief justice intending to achieve, is a grand resetting of the ideology that underpins the Ghana Bar Association, and which, in fact, truly underpins bar associations all over the world. And that is why you saw the UK Council writing and taking similar positions as the Ghana Bar Association are taking, relating to the removal of the Chief Justice and all of these things. So it's a grand ideological reset that Dapiama Falls Rate hopes to achieve, but it's going to be very, very difficult to achieve it, because I'm not sure why. It will be a tragedy if we're going to have 2 competing bars or 3 competing bars. Oh, Gertrude, yes. I think that she's doing the right thing, as lawyer said, going to court, and so that we can establish the basis of these things. Yeah. For layminds, if you look at the reading of Article 146, it is obvious that Article 1463 recommended a certain process for the removal of a justice of the Supreme Court, and Article 1466 recommended a process for the removal of a Chief Justice. If the constitutional framers intended us to read those clauses together, perhaps they would have said so. What she's challenging now is that the process that undertook was a process that was towards removing her as Chief Justice of the Republic. That there's a separate process towards removing her as a Justice of the Supreme Court. But the dismissal warrant from the President suggests that she's been removed from both. That during the process of the process in the committee, she knew at all material times, and her lawyers knew, that the process was towards removing her as a Supreme Court judge. She perhaps was not told. And in fact, when the publication was made, there were legal experts who indicated that has the Chief Justice been removed both as Chief Justice and also as Justice of the Supreme Court, and then the government, in response to that, published the warrant, which was signed by Callistus Mahama, I believe, and which was very clear that she had been removed from both. So if you have 2 constitutional articles referencing a removal process for one and the other, and a person goes through one of these processes and is told that it's been removed from both, and she's going to the court to test it. My only concern is I'm wondering why she didn't go straight to the Supreme Court, because it appears that she's raising matters of significant constitutional interpretation. But I'm guessing that she knows what she's doing, and so the High Court will look at it. But I'm hoping that the Supreme Court can have the opportunity to look at it so that we can settle it once and for all. If the Supreme Court comes and says that when a process undertakes under Article 1466 to remove an individual as a Chief Justice, we should understand that process to be removing that person as a Justice of the Supreme Court as well. Then that will be the settled law. But until then, I'm sure that we will wait to see what happens. She has other complaints about the processes itself, about human rights issues. She's tried it once. The courts have said that it's an Article 146 process and they cannot look at it, etc., which disappointed some people. But let's see how she takes this on. And she also still has one application pending at the ECOWAS court, I believe, the final determination on whether the government of Ghana will owe her money or not. The Attorney General has already indicated at the bar conference that the government of Ghana's jurisprudence is not to be guided by all of these foreign entities who write and talk. But we don't know, in terms of the protocols between the ECOWAS countries, the value of an ECOWAS court's decision. Is an ECOWAS court understood to be higher than all the national courts, and the Federal Supreme Court of Nigeria, the Ghana Supreme Court, the Togo Constitutional Court, Cote d'Ivoire Constitutional Court? Should we understand the ECOWAS court to have a jurisdiction higher than these? I'm not sure what the protocol says and why she applied to it. Or is the ECOWAS court there to just make pronouncements without having the power to enforce these pronouncements? I'm not sure. So it's an area that we should look at. But the sentiments about the removal of the Chief Justice on those matters, I think the jury is still out there. And perhaps it has become a political question. It's no longer a legal question. It's a political question.
She argues that the responses that she submitted to the President in respect of the 3 petitions were in respect of allegations for her removal as Chief Justice and not as Justice of the Supreme Court. Now I quote, "The purported premier facie determination, a copy of which has to date not been provided to me, she's still expecting the basis for the premier, the establishment of the premier from Premier Francis K to be given
But
here.
if it's true, she doesn't have that, then that's a big problem.
Yes, was in relation to the petitions for my removal as Chief Justice and not as Justice of the Zone. And the said Justice Tokonu further argues that the committee was set up as stipulated under Article 1466 of the Constitution to consider whether or not to recommend her for removal as Chief Justice, but not as Justice of the Supreme Court. But Paul, have you heard those who have also said that this matter is an open and shut matter? It's decided, it's clear. And he, in fact, before you came, Hamza mentions, whilst you were here off air, Hamza, for instance, mentions the J2 matter. There's also the Justice Lega matter, Ghana Bar Association versus the Attorney General, it must have been something 1995 thereabout, where that matter, in fact, I can even read exactly what the Justice Lega at the time said. I'm sure you've seen that.
No, what is the Lega case?
Okay, so let me read what
please read it.
It's the 1994-1996. It says Ghana Bar Association versus Attorney General. I don't recall exactly what the matter was, but this is what it says. Without mincing words, the ultimate result this action is intended to achieve for the plaintiff is the removal of the second defendant as Chief Justice of Ghana, and as a fallout, a judge of the Supreme Court. The substratum of the plaintiff's case, as we have stated earlier, is that the second defendant is not a man of high moral character and proven integrity to be the Chief Justice. Ipso facto, a judge of the Supreme Court, since the qualifications are admittedly the same. 4, if the second defendant is disqualified from occupying the post of Chief Justice on grounds of lack of integrity, I do not see how he can continue to be a judge of the Supreme Court. There's also one that someone has actually sent, which has to do with Justice Amadu Tango. That's more recent. When Justice Tokonu filed for some injunction applications when she felt that something wasn't being done rightly. Now, per Tanko Amadu's statement on this matter, where he says that and this was on the 28th May 2025, where it says the above, and there's a portion which I'm going to quote. The above observations provoked by paragraph 12 of the applicant's affidavit aside, I need hardly say that I arrived at the conclusion that this application must fail without relish, mindful of the fact that the applicant, Honorable Lady Chief Justice of the Republic, is going through a process that may define her career on the bench as Chief Justice and as a judge, one way or the other. So I'm saying that justices or judges have made some pronouncement on this matter as to whether the matter is consolidated, whether it is dual, or one does not affect the other. Do you get the point I'm making?
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that changes your position on this matter, or you still think that it will be a very useful exercise, if for nothing at all, for it will improve our legal jurisprudence.
It will be a very useful exercise because in all of those cases, yes, I've heard what you said and I heard what lawyers said, and it's true. But we have to determine the value of these statements in the context of the judgment, because judgments are divided into 2, sometimes into 3. The most important part of the judgment is what the lawyers call the ratio. The ratio is the law. That is the case law. Now, the judge goes on to say other things when he's writing the judgment. So those other things that he says are categorized as obiter dictum. Obiter dictum is not the law. It is the ratio that is the law. But the judge is always allowed to pour out obiter to guide us in the future and to get lawyers to pick it up and do some more research on it, etc., etc. My view of the matter is that these things that you have read in both the J2 and this Sprega one, they appear to me as the obiter. They don't appear to me as the ratio. In the case of the Dateba ruling, for instance, the ratio was clear. The matter that was before the court and the question put before the Supreme Court was whether or not, in the case of the Chief Justice's removal, a purported petition so to do, who does the prima facie? Because it wasn't obvious. And so the court came in to fill the gap. I think that they didn't fill it as much as they should have, because they said the prima facie ought to be done between the President and the Council of State. Chief Justice Tokonu continues to complain that she has not received that document, because you see, that document really is the basis of the trial. That prima facie decision made by the President.
But
it's a document that ought to be handed over to her.
Is she entitled to the document?
She is entitled to her, and also entitled to the petitioner. And also given to the committee, because that is the basis of the trial. So a letter comes to the President that please remove Chief Justice Bafoboni because of so and so and so and so and so that he has done, which is being alleged by a Ghanaian. So the President takes it and says that, sends it to the Chief Justice and says, this is what somebody has said. And so Chief Justice says, on point 1, I think so and so, on point 2. So the President and the Council of State have before them the complaint from the petitioner and the Chief Justice's response.
Yeah.
They look at that, conduct some preliminary research. They can ask BNI to do something. They can ask National Security to do something. They can ask Yoko to do something based on the allegations that have come. When they get all this information, they sit together and make a determination that on this one, this allegation was made, the answer given by the Chief Justice is not sufficient. It does not answer this and this and this, and therefore it requires a trial to do so. On this one, we think that this second one is dismissed. On this third one, we think that you have not answered so and so. So when Chief Justice goes to the committee, she knows the deficit and the work that has been placed on her shoulders. She clearly knows, and the committee also knows what they are trying. But without that document, you go to the committee and you stand there and say, okay, you are here. You wrote a letter to the President responding to the allegations. The President and the Council of State think that the prima facie case has been made. So let's start. I mean, how do you do that? That's the ghost trial. How do you do that? She has to be told that this allegation that came against you for the transfer of this person, your answer was so and so and so. But if you look at the allegation, this answer you gave is insufficient because you have not answered da. This process requires some cross-examination between you and the petitioner and for the committee to listen. And therefore, you have to come and answer. So when she's going, she knows that I'm going to be confronted with this allegation. They think that my answer was not sufficient. If I have more documents to push my answer, I take those documents along. But if she goes into a dark room, so to speak, in quote, and you are trying her, and there's the prima facie, which is the basis of the sermons, is not there, I'm not sure how that happened. But anyway, that's her allegation.
How can the committee, even proceed to adjudicate over this matter, for want of a better word, without telling her why she's there?
Without offering her the prima facie. That's what Ayuko has been.
As a documentary.
Yes, that's what Ayuko has been crazy about. That where is the prima facie determination? What went into it?
She would have been told at the committee. At the committee.
Yes, she asked the committee. They don't have it. Kweku Azar.
Oh, she asked the committee. They said they don't have
several times. She said that. Ayuko has said that. Kweku Azar, when she wrote a petition to President Akufo-Addo, wanting the removal of Chief Justice Tokolo, the process that Akufo-Addo went through, the prima facie determination was sent to him that they have made a prima facie on this and this and that, and we don't think that you have a case. It was also given to Tokolo. In the case of other people, that Tokolo was presiding as Chief Justice, and petitions went to her for the removal of these people, forwarded to her by the President, some important institutions of state. She had made a prima facie determination, sent it back to the President. The President sent it to the petitioner. So the prima facie must be there. That the prima facie is not there, if it is true that it's not there, I mean, I don't understand. Maybe that's why Sophia Kofu is speaking the way she's speaking.
That's fine, but I'm saying that documentary evidence of the basis for establishing a prima facie case against her, is this something she's entitled to as of right or out of courtesy?
If we conclude that she's not entitled to it as of right, it is like sending somebody to court and not specifically telling him why he's there.
Right.
That's what it means. It's like come to you and they say that you have been charged for stealing and this and that and that. So they say you have been charged for stealing, contrary to section so and so, for doing this, that. Right. So you go to court and say, my lord, I didn't do this. So what is not in issue, you don't talk about it in court. Right. What is in critical issue, you talk about it in court. But if you give a carte blanche trial, so she goes and she's not sure who the witnesses are. You even have to file the witnesses that on this matter, we are going to ask this person to come and testify because he said this. On this matter, we're going to do this. On this matter, we're going to do that. She indicated another process where during the process, in the first instance, when they went there to set out the rules, lawyers do that. They go there to set out the rules of the engagement. Her lawyer went to that meeting, and the people said that, the committee said, according to Ayuko Otu, that because she, the subject, is not present, her lawyer will not be recognized. Even though letters had been written to the lawyer prior to that process. This is what I could say. Letters had been written to the lawyer prior to that process. So the committee had already recognized the lawyer by writing letters to him that you are a lawyer for Tokonu, let her do this, let her do that. Those communications had been had. But then the lawyer comes to the Edu Lodge on day one, and he's told that, where is your client? She's not here. The subject of the petition is not here. Oh, then we cannot recognize you. So they proceed to develop the rules of engagement without the participation of her lawyer. If these matters are true, then it may make sense why Justice Sophia Akufu may say that it's unfair. It may make sense why the Ghana Bar Association's resolution was to that effect as well, read at the bar conference last week. But we really have to be sorry if these things are true. And we perhaps have to ventilate these matters in a better way. But I don't know how. As I said, it has become a political question.
Are you a headmaster, headmistress, parent, teacher, or an educator looking for high-quality textbooks for preschool, primary, and junior high school students? Look no further than Advocate Publishing Company. Advocate Publishing Company is a leading publisher of educational materials in Ghana that publishes very engaging, interactive, and comprehensive textbooks that meet the needs of students, teachers, and parents. Our textbooks are thoroughly published to make learning fun and easy. They are also designed to stimulate critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity in students. Make Advocate Publishing your preferred choice for all your educational needs. Explore our range of textbooks and educational resources. Visit us at the old GNTC yard near Kingsway, Accra. You can contact us on 0503 786 776 or 02408 06354, also 0531 600360, and connect with us on Instagram, X, and Facebook at Advo Publishing. Don't settle for less. Choose the best. Advocate Publishing Company, empowering young minds one textbook at a time. Thinking publishing, think Advocate Publishing.
Edi asema menya oden o tiantie mu amanfo ada wo hye me boso beto phone ama me phone na say dada menya oden
the most surprised man.
Surprise ben
Surprise.
Hey Kofi papa phone o iPhone 13 nanya ne
Ende me francopho bi mienu amuko circle ene ba ko ne ka chena dan fa hawa ono odi ni Ghana card ekọ EBA phone so a otua 40% pen edi ni phone ma no a da aka no betua ne kakra Timothy ya me drop na me so me call ho and me kwanya wo phone de bre on.
Oh Kofi papa me da say I'm sure
Wo EBA phones hadie yeton iPhones ne ho akade nyina ye sanso de ma wholesale so ye dealer na so pedodo atua anase afi na wo hye iPhone business na sia braya sia ye hwehwe ye chira kwan e wa Accra Circle Mall any tiptoe lane modern photos in chain American Monso ye ni odor rice ene edi nhwenim Kumase ye wedum ejekuma brunsan nim obetumi so hu ye e wo www.
Hello, my friends. My name is Calcate Toothpaste. Wow. I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Calcate. Happy smile.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson, Asamo.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Friendly Kalika, just call me cockroach.
Now, Mr. Friendly once now.
Hey, that's you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain Mosquito, double the action. Me did this, Sasso Quell. Yeah, go to my Saturday. Come on, Tom Preco.
In life, choice is good, but choice plus safety is way better. Your safety and comfort is paramount. Under the cylinder recirculation model, you can buy LPG in a safe environment. All cylinders are inspected and maintained to the best safety standards, so your safety is assured. Just take your empty cylinder to the nearest exchange point and swap it for a filled cylinder. Different cylinder sizes will be available to meet your pocket size. Imagine cooking in a smoke-free environment. This will improve the health and well-being of you and your family. Choose LPG in a safer model of distribution. Cylinder recirculation model. Securing your safety. Creating more jobs. A message from the National Petroleum Authority under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy.
Promo! Your most preferred estate partner is given a massive 20% discount on land sale. Yes, for our Founders Day promo, Estate Masters is offering this special discount for outright purchases up till the end of September 2025. This cuts across all our available sites, and upon purchase, you get to enjoy a free indenture and free site plan. Our site visits are also free, so rush now and secure a plot of land while this offer lasts. Estate Masters, your most preferred estate partner.
Gertrude, yes, I think that she's doing the right thing, as lawyer said, going to court, and so that we can establish the basis of these things. Yeah. For layminds, if you look at the reading of Article 146, it is obvious that Article 1463 recommended a certain process for the removal of a justice of the Supreme Court, and Article 1466 recommended a process for the removal of a Chief Justice. If the constitutional framers intended us to read those clauses together, perhaps they would have said so. What she's challenging now is that the process that undertook was a process that was towards removing her as Chief Justice of the Republic. That there's a separate process towards removing her as a Justice of the Supreme Court. But the dismissal warrant from the President suggests that she's been removed from both. That during the process of the process in the committee, she knew at all material times, and her lawyers knew, that the process was towards removing her as a Supreme Court judge. She perhaps was not told. And in fact, when the publication was made, there were legal experts who indicated that has the Chief Justice been removed both as Chief Justice and also as Justice of the Supreme Court, and then the government, in response to that, published the warrant, which was signed by Callistus Mahama, I believe, and which was very clear that she had been removed from both. So if you have two constitutional articles referencing a removal process for one and the other, and a person goes through one of these processes and is told that it's been removed from both, and she's going to the court to test it. My only concern is I'm wondering why she didn't go straight to the Supreme Court, because it appears that she's raising matters of significant constitutional interpretation. But I'm guessing that she knows what she's doing, and so the High Court will look at it. But I'm hoping that the Supreme Court can have the opportunity to look at it so that we can settle it once and for all. If the Supreme Court comes and says that when a process undertakes under Article 1466 to remove an individual as a Chief Justice, we should understand that process to be removing that person as a Justice of the Supreme Court as well. Then that will be the settled law. But until then, I'm sure that we will wait to see what happens. She has other complaints about the processes itself, about human rights issues. She's tried it once. The courts have said that it's an Article 146 process and they cannot look at it, etc. which disappointed some people. But let's see how she takes this on. And she also still has one application pending at the ECOWAS court, I believe, the final determination on whether the government of Ghana will owe her money or not. The Attorney General has already indicated at the bar conference that the government of Ghana's jurisprudence is not to be guided by all of these foreign entities who write and talk. But we don't know, in terms of the protocols between the ECOWAS countries, the value of an ECOWAS court's decision. Is an ECOWAS court understood to be higher than all the national courts and the Federal Supreme Court of Nigeria, the Ghana Supreme Court, the Togo Constitutional Court, Cote d'Ivoire Constitutional Court? Should we understand the ECOWAS court to have a jurisdiction higher than these? I'm not sure what the protocol says and why she applied to it. Or is the ECOWAS court there to just make pronouncements without having the power to enforce these pronouncements? I'm not sure. So it's an area that we should look at. But the sentiments about the removal of the Chief Justice on those matters, I think the jury is still out there. And perhaps it has become a political question. It's no longer a legal question. It's a political question.
She argues that the responses that she submitted to the president in respect of the 3 petitions were in respect of allegations for her removal as Chief Justice and not as Justice of the Supreme Court. Now I quote, "The purported premier facie determination, a copy of which has to date not been provided to me." She's still expecting the basis for the premier, the establishment of the premier facie case to be given here.
But if it's true, she doesn't have that, then that's a big problem.
Yes, was in relation to the petitions for my removal as Chief Justice and not as Justice of the Supreme Court. And the said Justice Tokono further argues that the committee was set up as stipulated under Article 1466 of the Constitution to consider whether or not to recommend her for removal, her removal as Chief Justice, but not as Justice of the Supreme Court. But Paul, have you heard those who have also said that this matter is an open and shut matter? It's decided, it's clear. And he, in fact, before you came, Hamza mentions, whilst you were here off air, Hamza, for instance, mentions the J2 matter. There's also the Justice Vega matter, Ghana Bar Association versus the Attorney General, must have been something 1995 thereabout, where that matter, in fact, I can even read exactly what the Justice Vega at the time said. I'm sure you've seen that.
No, what is the Vega case?
Okay, so let me read what
please read it.
It's the, so 1994, 1996, it says Ghana Bar Association versus Attorney General. I don't recall exactly what the matter was, but this is what it says. Without mincing words, the ultimate result this action is intended to achieve for the plaintiff is the removal of the second defendant as Chief Justice of Ghana, and as a fallout, a judge of the Supreme Court. The substratum of the plaintiff's case, as we have stated earlier, is that the second defendant is not a man of high moral character and proven integrity to be the Chief Justice. Ipso facto, a judge of the Supreme Court, since the qualifications are admittedly the same. 4, if the second defendant is disqualified from occupying the post of Chief Justice on grounds of lack of integrity, I do not see how he can continue to be a judge of the Supreme Court. There's also one that someone has actually sent, which has to do with Justice Amadou Tango. That's more recent. That's more recent. When Justice Tokonu filed for some injunction applications when she felt that something wasn't being done rightly. Now, per Tanko Amadou's statement on this matter, where he says that and this was on the 28th May 2025, where it says the above, and there's a portion which I'm going to quote. The above observations provoked by paragraph 12 of the applicant's affidavit aside, I need hardly say that I arrived at the conclusion that this application must fail without relish, mindful of the fact that the applicant, Honorable Lady Chief Justice of the Republic, is going through a process that may define her career on the bench as Chief Justice and as a judge, one way or the other. So I'm saying that justices or judges have made some pronouncement on this matter as to whether the matter is consolidated, whether it is dual, or one does not affect the other. Do you get the point I'm making?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know whether that changes your position on this matter, or you still think that it will be a very useful exercise, if for nothing at all, for it will improve our legal jurisprudence.
It will be a very useful exercise because in all of those cases, yes, I've heard what you said and I heard what lawyers said, and it's true. But we have to determine the value of these statements in the context of the judgment, because judgments are divided into 2, sometimes into 3. The most important part of the judgment is what the lawyers call the ratio. The ratio is the law. That is the case law. Now, the judge goes on to say other things when he's writing the judgment. So those other things that he says are categorized as obiter dictum. Obiter dictum is not the law. It's the ratio that is the law. But the judge is always allowed to pour out obiter to guide us in the future and to get lawyers to pick it up and do some more research on it, etc., etc. My view of the matter is that these things that you have read in both Ejechum and this Sprega one, they appear to me as the obiter. They don't appear to me as the ratio. In the case of the Dateban ruling, for instance, the ratio was clear. The matter that was before the courts and the question put before the Supreme Court was whether or not, in the case of the Chief Justice's removal, a purported petition so to do, who does the prima facie? Because it wasn't obvious. And so the court came in to fill the gap. I think that they didn't fill it as much as they should have, because they said the prima facie ought to be done between the President and the Council of State. Chief Justice Tokonu continues to complain that she has not received that document, because you see, that document really is the basis of the trial. That prima facie decision made by the President. But it's a document that ought to be handed over to her.
Is she entitled to the document?
She is entitled to her, and also entitled to the petitioner. Okay. And also given to the committee, because that is the basis of the trial. Right. So a letter comes to the President that please remove Chief Justice Bafoboni because of so and so and so and so and so that he has done, which is being alleged by a Ghanaian. So the President takes it and says that, sends it to the Chief Justice and says, this is what somebody has said. And so Chief Justice says, on point 1, I think so and so, on point 2. So the President and the Council of State have before them the complaint from the petitioner and the Chief Justice's response. Yeah. They look at that, conduct some preliminary research. They can ask BNI to do something. They can ask National Security to do something. They can ask Yoko to do something based on the allegations that have come. When they get all this information, they sit together and make a determination that on this one, this allegation was made, the answer given by the Chief Justice is not sufficient. It does not answer this and this and this, and therefore it requires a trial to do so. On this one, we think that this second one is dismissed. On this third one, we think that you have not answered so and so. So when Chief Justice goes to the committee, she knows the deficit and the work that has been placed on her shoulders. She clearly knows, and the committee also knows what they are trying. But without that document, you go to the committee and you stand there and say, okay, you are here. You wrote a letter to the President responding to the allegations. The President and the Council of State think that the prima facie case has been made. So let's start. I mean, how do you do that? That's the ghost trial. How do you do that? She has to be told that this allegation that came against you for the transfer of this person, your answer was so and so and so. But if you look at the allegation, this answer you gave is insufficient because you have not answered da. This process requires some cross-examination between you and the petitioner. And for the committee to listen. And therefore, you have to come and answer. So when she's going, she knows that I'm going to be confronted with this allegation. They think that my answer was not sufficient. If I have more documents to push my answer, I take those documents along. But if she goes into a dark room, so to speak, in quote, and you are trying her, and there's the prima facie, which is the basis of the sermons, is not there, I'm not sure how that happened. But anyway, that's her allegation.
Even proceed to adjudicate over this matter, for want of a better word, without telling her why she's there.
Without offering her the prima facie, that's what Ayuko has been.
As a documentary.
Yes, that's what Ayuko has been crazy about. That where is the prima facie determination? What went into it?
Should have been told at the committee. At the committee.
Yes, she asked the committee, they don't have it.
She asked the committee, they said they don't have
several times. She said that. Ayuko has said that. Kweku, when she wrote a petition to President Akufo-Addo, wanting the removal of Chief Justice Tokonu. The process that Akufo-Addo went through, the prima facie determination was sent to him that they have made a prima facie on this and this and that, and we don't think that you have a case. It was also given to Tokonu. In the case of other people, that Tokonu was presiding as Chief Justice, and petitions went to her for the removal of these people, forwarded to her by the President, some important institutions of state. She had made her prima facie determination, sent it back to the President. The President sent it to the petitioner. So the prima facie must be there. That the prima facie is not there, if it is true that it's not there, I mean, I don't understand. Maybe that's why Sophia Kofu is speaking the way she's speaking.
That's fine, but I'm saying that documentary evidence of the basis for establishing a prima facie case against her, is this something she's entitled to as of right or out of courtesy?
If we conclude that she's not entitled to it as of right, it is like sending somebody to court and not specifically telling him why he's there.
Right.
That's what it means. It's like come to you and they say that you have been charged for stealing and this and that and that. So they say you have been charged for stealing, contrary to section so and so, for doing this, that. Right. So you go to court and say, my lord, I didn't do this. So what is not an issue, you don't talk about it in court.
Right. Free SHS. That is what you call all lies be lies.
Good evening. Welcome to the show, and sorry for starting late. When you see Joe Jackson in the studio, you know that a lot is going to happen tonight. Wow, what a lineup we have tonight. KGL and Suleiman Brahma are up in arms. There's a legal action taken by Gary Nemako against KGL. Those of you who don't know the story, the Fourth Estate has been doing some good work all over the place, but now they are focusing on the National Lottery Authority. They have been confronted with facts that the allegations that they are making are palpably false. We'll deal with that. You know, we don't like journalists putting out false information, so that's big on the agenda. There's a group calling itself the Political Parties Without Representation in Parliament, and they are unhappy about the work of the Attorney General. They believe that the Attorney General's work against Kwabena Dubahini is wrong, and one of them is in the studio to tell us why they believe that is wrong. There's also fire on the mountain. It's at the CID headquarters. You remember the famous trial of KGL Atuforsen, minority leader as he then was, but now, of course, Minister for Finance and Economic Planning. Also on the trial was Richard Jakpa, a former military officer as he then was, but of course now operations director or something like that. Is he operations manager or something operations at the National Security place? Richard Jakpa took out a letter to the CID purporting to report former Attorney General Godfrey Dame to the CID. Richard Jakpa referred to the very well-known matter of his interactions with Godfrey Dame during the trial. He told the CID that they should investigate Godfrey Dame's purported interference with the trial before the court. As we all know, the High Court in the matter had occasion to hear this matter before her ladyship Efia Sewa, and she made some pronouncements on it. Nonetheless, Richard Jakpa says that the information available to the court was not everything, and that Richard Godfrey Dame did not give the court all the information. So he has petitioned the CID to look at it. Before the CID could finish looking at the matter, Mr. Daniel Oforiatta, a well-known political activist from the AFAG days, has also written to the CID about the same matter. Mr. Oforiatta wants the CID to investigate Supreme Court Judge, His Lordship Justice Yoni Kulendi, and Mr. Richard Jakpa for the same matter, for interfering in the KGL Atuforsen case. Whoa, what a collusion. Tonight we'll be looking at all of those matters. And then we'll be talking about a very important matter, the Ghana CEO Summit. Now, the CEO Summit is important because if all the CEOs in Ghana are successful, I can assure you that Ghana will be successful because they lead all the companies. We talk about private sector being the engine of growth, and if private sector is to become the true engine of growth for our society, as it has become for other societies that we admire, then the CEO Summit must be successful. So Joe Jackson is in the studio to talk about it. You wonder why I'm mentioning Joe Jackson. You don't know him. See Joe Jackson. Please, let them see Joe Jackson on the television. Joe Jackson. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good.
It's been a very long time.
Extremely long. This is the first time I'm coming to you.
Yes. When we started the show, I always come to Kanda and talk to you at Herman back in the day.
That was a really long time ago.
A very, very long time. We are very old now, you know that.
Oh, we are old. I mean, think about it. Herman passed away.
Yeah, he did. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so I will just do one story on the touch screen. I'll come to Joe Jackson for the interview. And then the political parties without representation in Parliament are also here. So without much ado, let's get straight to action. Good evening. Welcome to the show. This is Good Evening Ghana, and it's always live. This is the big battle. Godfrey Dame, former Attorney General, Justice Yoni Kulendi, Supreme Court Judge, and Richard Jakpa, currently the Director of Operations at the National Security Council. Richard Jakpa has led many of the operations that has excited the NDC base, going to people's homes, arresting them, etc., etc. Now, Richard Jakpa has sent a petition to the CID asking the commissioner in charge of the CID to look at what he calls Godfrey Dame's purported interference in the Atuforsen case. What was the purported interference? Purported interference was that the meeting was convened for the two gentlemen by the Supreme Court's very distinguished Supreme Court Judge, Justice Yoni Kulendi, in his home to try and resolve matters between the parties. Apparently, Mr. Dami responded to this because of course, everyone respects Justice Kulendi. And so he responded because of Justice Kulendi's stature and personal relationship with him. Now, though, Richard Jakpa is asking the CID to do more than the High Court did. The High Court looked at the matter and gave a ruling on it. I'm sure we'll give you that as well. But the big story is that whilst Jakpa has sent that petition, another person, Mr. Daniel Oforiatta, says that no, whilst Richard Jakpa has sent the petition, he believes that the CID should actually be looking at the conduct of Mr. Jakpa and the Supreme Court judge. Now, here is the petition sent by Daniel Mafo Oforiatta. They call him DM Oforiatta. It is written to the Director General Criminal Investigations Department in Accra. It says, Dear Madam, request to investigate His Lordship Justice Yoni Kulendi and Richard Jakpa for conspiring to interfere with the administration of justice. It is as follows. I hope this reaches you in good spirits, he says. I am a citizen of the Republic of Ghana with keen interest in the development of the rule of law, good governance, and democracy. In January 2023, the Republic of Ghana commenced a prosecution of accused persons in a case bearing the title Republic versus Kesela Tuforsen and two others. Richard Jakpa, the current Director of Operations at the National Security Council, who was dishonorably released from the Ghana Armed Forces in November 2007 for unsatisfactory conduct and failure to pass his examinations, was a third accused. The said Richard Jakpa, as Daniel writes, as subsequently became obvious from the proceedings, is the cousin of Justice Yoni Kulendi, a Supreme Court judge. It goes on. In the course of the trial, it was revealed that right from the first day the accused persons were arraigned before the court, 18 January 2023, Richard Jakpa deployed the highly influential Justice of the Supreme Court, Yoni Kulendi, to obstruct the course of justice in the case with the ultimate object of ensuring that the prosecution of Richard Jakpa was either abated by the then Attorney General Godfrey Adame or he, Jakpa, was acquitted. The acts of Justice Kulendi and Richard Jakpa border on the commission of crimes relating to interference with legal proceedings. The following facts, evidence of which I will produce, bear this out. 1. From the proceedings of the trial, on the 18th of January 2022, after Richard Jakpa had been arraigned in court, he solicited the help of his cousin, Justice Yoni Kulendi, to procure the assistance of the then Attorney General to facilitate the release of Richard Jakpa when he had not satisfied the conditions of the bail granted to him. Justice Kulendi actually went to the office of the former Attorney General Godfrey Adame to request that his cousin be permitted to go home. At the trial, under cross-examination by the Director of Public Prosecutions, Richard Jakpa confessed to obtaining the telephone number of Attorney General Godfrey Adame from Justice Yoni Kulendi, after which he confidently attempted to meet with Mr. Adame and inundated him with many WhatsApp messages. All these were tendered in evidence at the trial on the 18th of June 2024. It is on record that Mr. Adame refused Richard Jakpa's invitation to meet with him. The evidence shows that from the time Richard Jakpa first got in touch with the Attorney General Godfrey Adame via WhatsApp, he sent in all 68, wow, 68 WhatsApp messages to him, in reply to which the then Attorney General sent only 2. 68. But what was the content of those 68 messages? That's a lot of messages to send to an Attorney General. 68. Really? Is there anyone that you have sent 68 messages to? I can't think of anyone that I have sent 68 messages to, unless you're looking at over a year or 2 years or something like that. 68. 111 up to 68. Wow. Okay. Well, Mr. Daniel Oforiatta will prove this when he's called. He sent 68 WhatsApp messages to him, in reply to which the then Attorney General sent only 2. Richard Jakpa confirmed this under cross-examination by the Director of Public Prosecutions, Mrs. Yvonne Atakra Obu-Bisa. Really? Okay. Furthermore, it is undisputable that when Mr. Adame turned down Richard Jakpa's overtures to meet him, Justice Yoni Kulendi, in breach of the code regulating his work as a Superior Court judge, lured the then Attorney General into meetings at his, Justice Kulendi's, residence on no less than 4 occasions. Justice Kulendi will then secretly invite Richard Jakpa to come over to his house and interfere in the legal proceedings pending against Jakpa by impressing upon Mr. Dami to stop the prosecution of the former or ensure that the prosecution will let him go free at the submission of no case stage of the trial. This is borne out by the record of proceedings at the trial. Indeed, the record showed that apart from inside the courtroom and the House of Justice Kulendi, Mr. Dami never met Mr. Richard Jakpa anywhere. The above, madam, shows a calculated effort by the learned Justice of the Supreme Court, Mr. Justice Yoni Kulendi, together with his cousin Richard Jakpa, to interfere in the prosecution of the criminal case filed against Richard Jakpa by the Republic of Ghana. This is not only dishonorable, but also borders on the commission of crimes in accordance with the Criminal Code and Offences Act 1960, Act 29. His request, according to Mr. Daniel Ofori, to the CID is as follows. He says, I respectfully request you to conduct an investigation into the conduct of Justice Yoni Kulendi and his cousin Richard Jakpa to unravel all acts of criminality disclosed by their conduct and take such prosecutorial action as is consistent with the law. I am available and willing to assist you with any documents, including relevant exhibits and the record of proceedings in the Republic versus Case Lato Forsen and 2 others, which you cannot access. In the meantime, attached to this petition are 1. Copies of the WhatsApp communication between Richard Jakpa and the Attorney General Godfrey Yebo Adame. 2. Record of proceedings in the trial of the case Republic versus Case Lato Forsen and 2 others dated 6 June 2024. 3. Record of proceedings in the trial of the case Republic versus Case Lato Forsen and 2 others dated 18 June 2024. 4. Record of proceedings in the trial of the case Republic versus Case Lato Forsen and 2 others dated 20th June 2024. 5. Record of proceedings in the trial of the case of the Republic versus Case Lato Forsen and 2 others dated 27 June 2024. 6. Hope the matters raised herein will be thoroughly investigated in accordance with due process. Yours faithfully, signed, Daniel Mafo Oforiata. So this matter is not going away anytime soon. Was on the same touch screen here last year in the heat of elections that we had to analyze the Richard Jakpa and the Attorney General matter. As you may know, the matter started at the High Court in the prosecution of causing financial loss to the states in the case of the ambulance. Case Lato Forsen was being questioned about an LC that he had approved and a contract he had approved without approval of Parliament, or that Parliament had approved the contract in a certain way and he was executing it in another way. This is what he was accused of. The trial went on quite acrimonious, a lot of conversations here and there. Good Evening Ghana got involved, who were lambasted, attacked, all kinds of things. My friend Samuel Jemfi, at that time he was the communications director of the National Democratic Congress, held press conferences after the court trial. It was a big deal. There were many interested parties, business interests, political interests, judicial interests. It was a really big trial. At the end of the case of the prosecution, the case Lato Forsen and all the others made a submission of no case. Those who understand criminal procedure understand it. There's not much time for me to go into it, but they made a submission of no case, that the prosecution had refused to make a case against them, that they had not been able to make a case against them. This is what they said. And then the High Court ruled that they had a case to answer, so case Lato Forsen had opened his defense. But then he had filed an appeal against that interlocutory ruling by the High Court that there was a case to answer. So the Court of Appeal heard the matter and decided by a 2-1 majority that in fact the prosecution had not made a case and that there was no case to answer. Godfrey Dami immediately responded and said that he was going to file an appeal at the Supreme Court challenging the conclusion of the Court of Appeal on that interlocutory matter. Before he could do that, 7 December occurred. John Dramani Mahama was elected president. Mr. Dominic Ayeni became the Attorney General and he discontinued the Supreme Court action. So we thought the matter was dead and gone. But here we are. Richard Jakpa raises the matter again, writes to the CID and says, I am not satisfied. Godfrey Dami should be prosecuted because he was trying to interfere in the case. When I called him, Okay, so Daniel Oforiata says, Godfrey Dami should be prosecuted. Richard Jakpa, are you sure about that? Then maybe you should be prosecuted. You were sending him WhatsApp messages. What are in the 68 WhatsApp messages? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Okay, that's it. Let's get to the other issues. Now, the people I'm going to talk to, they don't like politics, so I'm going to have a business conversation with them, and then we go on with the rest. Those who are interested in the Dubahini case, please don't go anywhere. I'm coming with a very new matter and a big one. Those who are interested in the KGL matter, Suleiman Brahma, NLA, KGL, there's a lot of filler in there. Don't go anywhere. I'm coming to you. And then Samuel Nate George. We'll have a conversation with him tonight. Stay tuned. It's going to be big. This is Good Evening Ghana and it's live. Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to our show.
Good evening.
When is the CEO Summit occurring? Joe Jackson first. I didn't get your name, sorry, sir. Let me write it down.
Okay.
I like your shoes, though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, my name is Romaric Abibio Dankwa.
Oh, Mr. Abibio Dankwa. You guys do well. You do very well. Uncle Joe, let me start with you. My producer tells me that Joe Jackson is going to Tema. Please hurry up and finish with him. Yeah, I've been told. That's beautiful. Okay, so I can see both of you on the CEO Summit. Yeah. Oh, I see Kofi Amoabin also presenting. Producer, do you have this to put out on the for viewers to see? I see Prince Kofi Amoabin is presenting. I see Professor Emeritus Stephen Adai. I see yourself, Joe, and Mr. Abibio. The rise of the conscious leader. Oh, that's interesting. So tell us about it, Joe. Let me start with you.
First of all, leadership is a very lonely process. And so we don't talk enough. We don't share enough. And the CEO Summit is an attempt to bring CEOs together so that we can see we are not alone in this journey that we are going through. And the topic, so it's a time for sharing. It's a time for listening to seasoned business people who have walked this path, who will talk to us about how they feel and what happens.
Is it private sector CEOs or state CEOs?
State CEOs. The CEOs, the CEOs.
All CEO.
All CEOs
So
and all
state enterprises, state banks.
all persons in the C-suite. So it's not just the CEO, it's deputies, it's directors.
Executive directors.
Let's put it this way, those in leadership positions. Now, the issue today is this. And I'll talk about the CEO. As the CEO, you have power. The power has been given to you. And you've been asked to deliver profits. That sounds good, isn't it? But in between using the power to deliver the profit comes the challenge of your principles. And there's tension between power on one hand and the profit you must deliver. And so when we talk about the rise of the conscious leader, it's about this leader who is intentional about how he uses his power to deliver the profits required. And look in detail about that tension created by our principles. A lot of us will claim we have men of faith. Some will claim others. But whatever it is, where does principle stand? Where does power stand? Where does the profit stand? And you find power, principle, tension.
Power, principle, tension.
Yes.
Power, principle, tension. Explain that.
Because you see, you're using your power to deliver profits. There are several ways to kill a cat. Some of those ways may not mesh with your principle. Some of it may be unethical. Some of it may be not aligned with your own faith. Some of it may not align with the best principles.
But you have to do it.
But you have to make a choice.
Can you give us like a practical example? So
very easy.
A mineral water company.
Very easy. I'm a mineral water company.
Yes, you want to make profits.
I want to make profits. Now, I've noted that there is lead and heavy metal in my water body. Right? But the water.
You don't mean galamsey, but you're not talking about
listen, if you start me on galamsey, I won't end. So,
yes,
but I'm just talking real example.
Yeah.
But I can have clear water and pass it out. Do I stop producing and try and find a new well? Or do I pass this off?
Pass it off means what?
Pass it off means pass it off to my clients.
With the lead in it?
Yes.
They will drink?
Yes.
Poison?
Yes.
But you will get profit?
I'll make profit.
So the decision?
The decision.
Immoral?
Yes.
Unethical?
Yes.
Somebody will die?
Yes.
But if you make that decision, you go to prosecution.
You see, those ones may be the easiest ones. What if it's a bordering on corruption? What if the decision...
Bordering on corruption?
Yes.
Campaign time.
What if
campaign time? I'm your friend.
Forget
you are CEO. I come. I say, can you contribute to our campaign?
Yes, not even that. That's even the easier part, because all they're asking me to do is campaign. What if I get to a point and somebody says, Charlie, tweak the thing.
Tweak what?
Tweak the invoice, tweak the proposal.
Oh, the numbers, yeah.
The numbers.
So we can make more money.
So that we can all make money.
Do you do that or you don't? You shouldn't.
Thank you. You see, the lead principle I gave you was easy. People would die.
So you can't do it.
So you can't do it.
Straightforward.
Straightforward.
But let's make more money.
Let's make more money. And people will not necessarily die.
No, but nobody will die.
Well, we could argue that out.
Do you make more money? Do you have to? Will you have to? Okay, so you are working for, you are providing a service for a government company.
Yes.
And the government company comes and says that, you know that we government people, we don't get a lot of money. So your invoice of 4 million, can you write it as 6 million? You give us, you pass the other one back, because there's party congress coming in January and we have to pay.
It doesn't have to be party congress.
It could be nothing.
Could be, it's just that, Charlie, you have to make some money.
Yeah. Or the old man is asking me to produce some money from this company, so can you just top up your invoice?
But
that's going to the taxpayer is going to pay that.
But that's the point. When the taxpayer pays, it means that somewhere along the line, unlike directly somebody is dying from lead or mercury poison, right? Somebody may not get the drugs they require.
Yeah.
Somebody may not get the dialysis machine they require.
Some road will not be done.
Some road will not be done. Food prices may go a little higher. So you see, and so what the things we're going to talk about are the difficulties there. And some, if I ask you, come, let's make money by creating a prostitution ring.
What's that?
Let's hand out prostitutes.
To who?
To whoever it is, and make some money from prostitutes. It may be easy to say, oh, no, I'm not interested in that. But the challenges that we face as CEO are more subtle.
So it's more temptations about money.
It's yes, because
and about meeting your target.
About meeting your target, delivering the profits, making money, temptation, and that is where the tension between the power you have and the choices you make and the profits you have to deliver and your principles sitting in the middle.
So let me come to you, Dominic. So an example is you are a female CEO of a top company. You want some business from government. A high-profile government person is asking for personal favors from you. Should you deliver? Is that some of the challenges?
Thank you very much, Paul, for having me. And good evening to our listeners. The rise of the conscious leader, talking about power, profit, and principles. All right. It is true that as CEO, we wield a lot of power over the people that become our main instrument in delivering the profit. And it is easy to go overboard and misuse that power, mostly in our part of the world. So for instance, a female CEO who needs a favor or a business from a government official, and she has to do something that she's not supposed to do. Now, I will say in our part of the world, this happens, and it happens every day. Okay, so
it happens. When you say every day,
it happens
all the time.
It happens all the time.
All the CEOs get into
Paul,
that
you
kind
need
of
to come around the business community. You need to talk to the business, players to understand the challenges that they go through and what they have to endure just to keep afloat, and make ends meet, to meet their targets, and to deliver the profit that is so much expected of them. So, for instance, Professor Stephen Ade says that he agrees with Freeman that the first responsibility of a CEO is to deliver profit. That's the first responsibility of a CEO. But however, it has to be profit with principles. Profit with principles. Now, for those who are familiar with the scriptures, for instance, the Bible says in the book of Proverbs chapter 30, verse 21 and 22, that there are 3 things that makes the earth tremble, 4 that it cannot endure. And the 22 start by saying that a slave who becomes a king. Now, a slave who become a king simply means that although you have been given power, you still think and behave like a slave. That's why the emerging leaders have to undergo this mental transformation. Okay, because although you have been given power, if you still behave and think like a slave, that would be no profit to the people that you are leading.
That's interesting. So what's the form? What form is it going to take? Are you going to take stories from everybody and their stories, and their faces are there and their names are there, and you should share their stories so we can build around it? What form is it going to take?
All right. From the last edition, one thing was clear. Emerging leaders are hungry about honest conversation about leadership. Okay, so this is going to be honest conversation. For instance, Captain Prince Kofi Amwabeng has offered a free copy of his book,
to everyone who attends.
Faithful Stories, Faithful Decision, the rise and fall of the UT Bank. Okay, and we are going to have hard conversations. We are going to have honest conversation on that day about the hard decisions that you have to make as a CEO in order to keep your faith, in order to deliver profit with principles. And Professor Emeritus Stephen Ade is also offering a free copy of his book, The Gimpa Story. I personally believe that every leader in Ghana must have a copy of that book. Seeing him turning Gimpa into a self-financing institution.
That's a remarkable story.
That's a remarkable story. And I think that either you are a CEO in the private sector or in the government, in the public sector, you need to be there and learn from this.
How do people attend, Joe? How much are they paying?
Well, at this moment, you're paying 3,000 cedis.
3,000 cedis to attend on
and
Thursday, October 2nd.
Yes.
2 days from now.
Yes. And 3,000 cedis will give you breakfast and lunch, right? Yes.
At the La Palm Royal Beach.
At the La Palm Royal Beach.
Okay. So how do they come? Who do they pay to? If somebody's watching this show and wants to attend, what do they do? You have a deadline for registration 29th.
No. The deadline was for the early bird.
Early bird, okay.
Yes.
So you have a phone number here that people can call?
There's a phone number here that people can call. 0246 189 847.
Can you find a way to put the numbers on
the
screen?
Or 0208 100 949.
So you phone those numbers even at this time of the day and somebody will pick up, yeah?
Somebody will pick up.
Okay, that's interesting. It's the second edition of the CEO's Breakfast and Networking. So it starts at 7 a.m. So it starts with breakfast, I guess.
It starts with breakfast. There's everything from health checkup.
Yes, health checkup.
Health checkup.
Free health.
Oh, who's
free
doing
medical.
it? Colleague people?
No, courtesy of my own medical center.
Oh, so what are they? High blood pressure and are they doing all kinds of...
The usual CEO lifestyle diseases.
Okay, diabetes.
Diabetes. Okay. High blood pressure. Check on your heart.
Oh, but you must have an elaborate place to do that. It's a setup. You must have a setup to do that.
At La Palm.
Oh, that's impressive. That's really impressive. Yeah. I've never heard it before. Where are you getting the idea from? Very good idea. That you go for a CEO summit, you first do a health checkup. I'm sure most of the CEOs do it regularly, but it would be nice for them to just do it again. Oh, that's nice. So if there are any problems, the health people are going to flag it and tell you what to do.
At least they'll tell you. You better You better get some more.
And then after that, breakfast.
After that, breakfast.
So if you go and do your test and your sugar is too much, you don't eat awuza cocoa. You don't put too much sugar in the awuza cocoa at the breakfast.
Better drink some green tea.
Green tea, yeah. Green tea is not sweet, but it's healthy.
Yes.
Oh, I love this. So how does media get the information? Is it going to be? Are you streaming it live somewhere?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we have made some arrangement.
Okay.
Yes, but I want to say this, Paul.
Please.
We want you to be there.
No, I'll be there. We want to stream live.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think that
at La Palm. CEOs, please. Let's do it. So do you also have former CEOs? Are they allowed to come? When I say former CEOs, there's a new government in Ghana, so the CEOs of the old government, they are still around. Are they allowed to come?
Yes, Paul. Actually, we're thinking about anyone who is leading anyone who has a responsibility of growing a business. We're thinking about thought leaders. We're thinking about emerging CEOs.
Civil society.
We're thinking about civil society. Even people who want to be a leader one day. We believe that that's the room for you.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'll let you go now, and then we could. So when we're going to put this out and get some text message. If there are some critical questions, I'll send it to you so that you can address it at the event. Because our viewers are always asking questions. Joe Jackson, so good to see you again. Are you still into IT?
Yes.
Oh, okay. But you were in Nigeria for a while.
Yes, I set up an IT company in Nigeria.
Yeah, Herman used to tell me. I go, I said, where is Joe Jackson? He's in Nigeria.
I set up in Nigeria.
Did you become a pastor at some point?
Yes.
Oh, you're still a pastor?
Yes, all that.
Oh, wow.
It's been
So you're back in Ghana?
I'm back in Ghana.
Okay.
I run a firm called DLX Finance.
Oh, I know about it. Is it not old? You started it?
No.
Oh, yeah, I know about it.
I joined DLX Finance.
Okay.
For the period I was there, I remember that I'm still there. Ken Thompson was the CEO.
Yes.
And Ken retired, and now I'm the CEO.
Okay.
And DLX Finance is interesting because it wasn't a new fintech.
Mm-hmm.
It was a legacy company, a finance house very much like old UT, that transformed into a fintech.
I see.
So that's an interesting story.
Oh, that's a good one.
So now you see where my IT background comes
Yes,
to bear.
yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, great. And Daniel, you said you used to sit behind me at church.
Yes.
ICGC. You don't come anymore?
My father became a pastor in 2000.
Of a new church, another
church. Yes.
Okay,
it was
so
called
you were
into
there.
ministry 2005. But I went to the Living Word School of Ministry.
I see.
I did.
So both of you are pastors. By the grace of God. Okay. Let's take text messages from my ladies, and then after that we continue with the show. Shall I start with Ella? Okay. Thank you. All right.
A lot of people are intrigued by what you do. So this one is from... This is a good idea. Some Ghanaians do not care about how they make their money. All they care about is that they have money to spend. When it comes to money making in Ghana currently, people do not care about morality, which is very, very wrong. They don't care if someone dies or lives, so long as they can get the money, they are okay. That is very selfish and inhumane. We can overcome this selfish attitude when we practice genuine love. Free love, let it flow. This one is from Gatsy Man. He says, I wonder why Japa and some NDC guys are so arrogant that they think if you take any flimsy case to court, you will win because your party is in power. In fact, political parties should examine the mental faculty of those they appoint into sensitive positions. Power must come with responsibility. If we want a stable democracy, every leader and party must commit to fair investigations, clear evidence, and equal treatment under the law, no exceptions for allies or enemies. Yao Jebri says that Justice Kulendi invited Attorney General Godfred to his house, and after several thoughts heeding to investigation, and Justice discussed and negotiating the case against his cousin, Mr. Richard alone, is stated misbehavior. Therefore, Mr. Richard should have known going back for a litigation on the discussions at the residence of Justice Kulendi against Mr. Godfred's behavior is also about to put his uncle in a very uncomfortable position. Lastly, Calvin Jr. says, tomorrow is pregnant, karma is real, don't throw stones when living in a glass house. What do you have first, Fatih?
The minds of development of every country. So their Breakfast and Networking Summit is going to go a long way to connect and channel investors' funds at the sectors that will bring a lot of employment, revenue, and proceeds. Christian Opoku says, Professor Benedict Osei Owusu, good evening, sir, and God bless you. He says the business-oriented minds are in talk. And lastly, coming from Samuel Fusuba, he says, interesting times ahead. There's CSG versus the law of Ethereum. I'm looking forward to such an interesting legal educational case, hoping to hear some hidden stuff in the Ghanaian higher jurisprudence. And lastly, coming from Nana JB, he says, why didn't Jakpa include his cousin and himself? You see how empty-headed politics has made some of you. Now back to you, Paul.
All right, we're back on the beat. Back on the beat. We have another story to deal with. Fourth estate. You know, I like you know that two groups of people that I really like are journalists and lawyers. Two groups of people that I really like. Is that the Suleiman Brahma's photograph you were talking about? Okay. Fourth estate, Manasseh Azuri's former employers. Today I won't say they sacked him. I won't say that. But it's okay. They have been conducting some investigations on National Lottery Authority. You know that they put, please get me my cup of tea. It's very important. You know, they put this story out on Fourth Estate where they are talking about lawyer Samir Uku, who is also a member of parliament for Ekropong, Krapim North. And they are talking about Samir Uku. And they say that there's something called good causes that he has been violating, if you like. I have heard Samir Uku speak on Ekusi saying, I think he articulated himself quite well. The reason why I'm doing this story is that I get very worried when journalists are told that you misunderstood the story. I get very worried when facts come out that suggest that the journalist misunderstood something. It's not that the journalist has ulterior motives. I don't always go to that. He may or may not, but we'll find that out later. To the extent that we don't have that evidence, we don't talk about ulterior motives. I genuinely believe that Fourth Estate set out to do something right. But this backlash that always comes, the journalists, they understand. As for journalists, they don't know anything. When they see the thing, they don't understand it. It worries me quite a bit. So when I looked at the preliminary facts of the matter, and I saw that, it may well be that Suleiman Brahma has truly missed something. I've seen his post on social media. He's believed that he hasn't missed anything. But I'm going to share with you this. There's a company called KGL that kind of works with NLA. Now, NLA from time immemorial have been licensing people to conduct the lottery for them. So they are licensed people who, so me, the person sticking the lotto, no, I don't deal directly with NLA. I deal with an agent. And when I win the lotto, the agent will pay me. I think NLA began doing that when there was a lot of crisis in their payments and all of that. So the agent has to show some amount of money in their bank account, and then NLA registers them as an agent, and then blah, blah, blah. Some agents do better than others because if stakers find out that this agent is more reliable, they sort of stick more with the agent, and that's the way the lottery business works. It's a pure demand and supply conversation. I also get very worried when journalists who are investigating matters believe that because somebody is rich, he is a thief. That thing is very worrying, it's debilitating, and is disturbing the social fiber of our country. It comes from, they will say I shouldn't say it, it comes from 31st December, Rawlings. It comes from Rawlings. Somebody is rich, he's a thief. The other day, Manasseh said that 99% of Ghanaian businessmen are thieves. The rich, Ghanaian rich men, they are thieves. Somebody is rich, he's a thief. You have to be a thief to be rich. So nobody can be rich by doing business. People make profits. And when we learn economics, they call something supernormal profit. That's not stealing, no. He's just made supernormal profit. In America, there are plenty of them. They make money. It doesn't mean that they are thieves. There are thieves, no doubt. There are thieves. There will always be. Jesus Christ said that the poor you have with you forever, he is gone. So the poor will be there, the thieves will be there, the murderers will be there, they will all be there. But the fact that somebody has made money, or you look at somebody's environment and you see that he's very rich and that he's a supplier to government, therefore he's a thief. I'm guessing that that's the problem that Suleiman Brahma ran into. So he publishes a story and says that, let's go to the story, let's go to the story. Why is Suleiman Brahma's photograph? They didn't give it to me. I needed to greet him. Is it there? Oh, there he is. Oga, how are you, Oga? I hope you are doing well. You know, you and I, we support the same football club and we belong to the same political party, so there's no fight, you know. I won't tell you what the political party is. I said that me and Suleiman Brahma, we belong to the same political party. Okay. All right. Let's move on. He's the one who said that Good Evening Ghana is a comedy show, so we want to make him laugh. I mean, he likes the comedy part of the show. He doesn't look at the rest, so it's fine. So we belong to the same political party. It's part of the comedy for tonight. Let's get to the story that he put out. Now, the Fourth Estate said, National Lottery Authority gave KGL a contract worth 3 billion cedis. The fourth estate's concern was that there's a 3 billion worth of business that can be achieved by the state agency. Why did they give it to somebody else to do it? Something like that. That's really the sort of crux of their matter. I'll send a text to Suleiman Brahma to see whether he's happy to come for an interview here to explain himself. But from what we have gathered so far, I think that he's manifestly wrong. This is the situation. He says NLA gave a contract for 3 billion cedis. Now, this is a fact as we checked. The National Lottery Authority did not give KGL a contract, but rather a license to engage in the provision of lotto services to subscribers, and hence there has never been a need for a PPA approval since a license is not a contract. Now, KGL, Suleiman Brahma was saying that a contract was given to KGL without PPA approval. And this PPA thing, I think sometimes we have to look at it well. We don't get to know that it's not everything that PPA approval is required. If, for instance, you are renting something from somewhere, you do not require PPA approval. If you are offering a contract, you require PPA approval. If you are offering a license, you do not require PPA approval. That's fundamental in the law of the PPA. So if you are a journalist, you need to acquaint yourself properly with the PPA rules and regulations, the ethos thereof, so that you can properly do your story. I believe that Mr. Brahma was misled into thinking that whatever relationship between NLA and KGL was a contract. It wasn't, it was a license. And he called it, he gave the value 3 billion. Let's see whether there's a 3 billion there. Number 2, the National Lottery Authority has never made 3 billion cedis in revenue since its establishment in 1957. And hence it is impossible for this said sum to be given to KGL. The point they are making here is that they, as NLA, they never in their history, and it's published, made a 3 billion CD profits so that they can have a business worth 3 billion to be given to one person. They themselves, they don't make that money. The whole business doesn't make that money. So we are not sure where the 3 billion is coming from. But Suleiman Brahma is challenging it. Now, these are the published amount of monies that has been made by the NLA recently. The big ones. 2013, 255 million. 2014, 315 million. 2015, 365 million. 2016, 397 million. 2017, 401 million. 2018, 381 million. 2019, 349 million. 2020, 299 million. That's low. The total revenue by NLA for 8 years between 2013 and 2020 is 2.7 2.7 billion. So the NLA in all of its from 2013 to 2020 did not make anything near 3 billion. They made 2.7 billion. But the fourth estate then runs with a headline and says KGL. KGL is a corporate entity. They deal with many people across the world. You run this kind of headline as a journalist from Ghana. KGL is a wholly owned Ghanaian company. That's why I depart from Manasseh all the time. That when you are talking about a Ghanaian company, you have to pause. It's not always about being a hero journalist, showing that somebody is a thief. Because you're undermining Ghanaian companies, you're undermining Ghanaian employees, you're undermining a Ghanaian enterprise, and that's why we never get to Aliko Dangote stage. We want to cut off all our people. Imagine today, Zoom Lion. He's in all over Africa. Published record. Kenya, Nigeria, Tanzania, Ethiopia. Ethiopia is one of the best African countries. Zoom Lion is there. If in 2014, 15, 16, we had allowed Manasseh to kill Zoom Lion, which was Manasseh's objective, destroy Zoom Lion. If we had allowed that, would we have today said we have a Ghanaian conglomerate that's working all around Africa? These are the things I talk about, and they say that you like corruption. How do I like corruption? Companies are built, nations are built by companies. You see Donald Trump, he's always meeting American companies. He cannot call on UK companies. He's not going to call on Canadian companies. He's not going to call on Israeli companies. He's going to call on American companies. Can our president call on Ghanaian companies around the table and say that, look, I'm looking for money for Black Stars for World Cup. All of you, can you give me something? We are not going to be able to do that, because as soon as you show up, fourth estate to go and do an investigation and say that you're a thief. So I am appealing to these people. When you are dealing with Ghanaian companies, hold it down. I'm not saying clap for corruption. You can always talk about corruption. But as soon as it's a Ghanaian company, because these estate, fourth estate people, they never investigate Lebanese company. Never. But the Lebanese companies are here doing business in Ghana. They are also doing the same GRA, this and that and that. Manasseh has never come out to say Nebani's company. Every day it's a Ghanaian company that he's after. He's after a Ghanaian company. He wants to destroy a Ghanaian company. We are not going to allow that because we want to deal with the facts. We are not going to allow them to destroy KGL. Go and ask successive NLA bosses since Ameyao, since Samia Uku, and the current boss who have belonged to different political parties. They will all tell you that KGL is a 7-star company that has done so much for NLA. KGL bosses are well-exposed global important people globally before they came to Ghana to do lottery business. KGL people are people who are jewels of the Ghanaian enterprise. And then this Sullivan Brahma is conducting his investigation. You can do that. But you cannot come and say they gave a 3 billion contract when the record shows that the company itself has never made 3 billion in the last 10 years. And it's a Ghanaian company. Where's of it? We have to start liking Ghana. Tomorrow is Nigeria's Independence Day. I'm going to play the Nigerian anthem for them. Please get me the Nigerian anthem. It's a very beautiful one with a green, white, green flag. Tomorrow is Nigeria's Independence. Nigeria is one country I love to bet. You know that already. When I was in secondary school and Nigeria playing the World Cup and they lose a World Cup match, my friends will be beating me up that you like Rashid Yekini and Stephen Keshi and they've lost the game. Sunday Olise and Ben Elaho and all those my people, Emmanuel Amunike. I just love the Super Eagles. Back in the day, the Black Stars were not going through, so yes. But Nigeria, they don't do what we do. Mike Adenuga has transcended many Nigerian different governments. Nigeria have had plenty presidents from the 60s. They are still alive. We went to kill ours in 79, so we lost the experience. Achampon, Akufu, Medome, they killed them. So we lost the experience. Today, J.J. Rawlings too is dead. We are sorry about that. We love him. He should have been here to give us more experience. Go to Nigeria. Obasanjo is 80. Babangida is 80. This guy is even still there. The 1975 leader, whatever his name is. Gowon is still there. He was school leader in 75. He's in Nigeria today. He lives there in peace. They don't do that in Nigeria. They don't bite their apples. They don't pull them down. They don't cut them to pieces. Dangote has transcended Babangida, this, that. Every president has come. Aliko Dangote is there. He's getting richer. Why do we want to destroy our people? Rawlings destroyed A-Life. When I went to say it, he said that I'm talking Kwasi Asem. A-Life is gone. If A-Life was there today, do you know where the country would be with that single businessman? They are jewels. They are called entrepreneurs. I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't even know how to do it. God didn't bless me with that. God blesses some people with entrepreneurship. Let's support them. It will help all of us. They will be richer than us. And that's the problem we cannot accept. I am a journalist. I am not a billionaire. I'm a media person. I have to be paid well and have a comfortable life. The nature of my work is not to produce money so that I'm a billionaire. The person who is selling special ice is an entrepreneur. He should become a billionaire. There should be plenty billionaires so that they can do things for the rest of the people. A footballer can be a billionaire. Journalism doesn't make you billionaire, but if you own a TV station, you can become a billionaire. When somebody is a billionaire, he is not a thief. If he's Ghanaian, we should protect him. But when you have our media, every time bashing Ghanaian company, oh yeah, he's a thief. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Look at RLG. We collapsed him. Manasseh, RLG gone. RLG is gone. Young man came up. He wanted to challenge LG. He set up RLG, going, making it happen everywhere. One day, Jida cut his head off. He went to Dubai. He lived in Dubai. He doesn't want to live in Ghana anymore. He sees Ghana as a lion that is coming to catch him. Lives in Dubai. By the time we hear, he's working with Aliko Dangote in Dubai. When Donald Trump went to Qatar and met all the Qatari businessmen, and they selected important business thinkers in Africa, there was a Ghanaian in there. He's called Bernard Mensah. He's B.A. Mensah's son. He's Herbert Mensah's brother. But he doesn't come to Ghana. He's too afraid of Ghana. He doesn't want to know. One of the governments in the past, I won't mention the government's name, they wanted to make him the governor of the Central Bank of Ghana because they knew that if you have Bernard Mensah there, he's going to do a lot. They told Bernard that, will you come to Ghana and say, hey, Ghana, what they did to my father, B.A. Mensah, I don't want to see Ghana. He was sitting next to Donald Trump when Donald Trump was meeting the Qatari business at a high-level global summit. All the international media were covering it. I saw him. I said, did you see Bernard Mensah? I went to my people that sent me text. Are you watching Trump? Have you seen Bernard Mensah? I was so proud. Bernard Mensah was there. B.A. Mensah's son. He is still called Bernard Mensah. In fact, he's called Bernard Amponsan Mensah. But he went to Achimota School. But he vanished. He's in Singapore. He doesn't want to know about Ghana. Quality, high-profile Goldman Sachs person who can become governor of our central bank, can become an advisor to our government. He can do so much for us. He says, I don't want to know about Ghana. They cut my father's head off. I don't want to know. Why? Why do we do that? Look at this. Total revenue. Let's go on. Claimed by Fourth Estate that KGL has been given an unfair monopoly over the 590 program, the 590 lottery. The fact, the National Lotteries Authority never gave one USSD to multiple users. For example, 787 is exclusively for Wotiri Lottery. 766 is exclusively for Athena. And 959 is exclusively for NLA 590. So the point being made here, producer, this doesn't explain the matter well. The point being made here is that no exclusive. So Fourth Estate is alleging that a monopoly was given to KGL to run the IT infrastructure, the online 590 lottery. A monopoly was given to KGL against other companies. But somebody must get a monopoly. I mean, it's not even true. But even if that is true, it's a Ghanaian company. It gets a monopoly. It can run it for 5 years. And let's give them some terms. Let's make sure that they are raising the profit. But it's not even true. It's not even true that there's a monopoly because the facts show that there's no monopoly. Now, so upset is lawyer Gary Nimakun about this process that Gary Nimakun has angrily gone to court and taken out a writ against my friend Suleiman Brahma. If I see Gary Nimakun, I'll tell him that you don't need to sue journalists. That's another thing I don't like. People suing journalists all the time. Take it to National Media Commission. This is journalists taking them to court. Take it to National Media Commission. Sue him at the National Media Commission. You know, so long as he didn't say that you have stolen money or he didn't say that you are insult you so blatantly, take it to National Media. If I see Gary Nimakun, I'll say that please take the matter to National Media Commission. But here are the facts of what Gary Nimakun alleges. Fourth Estate says that Mr. Nimakun, as board chairman, superintended the giveaway of 3 billion Ghana cedis to KGL, and this is contended to be false by Mr. Nimakun in the court. Mr. Nimakun is asking for a declaration that the publication with the banner headline and the picture of the plaintiff, the NLA gave away 3 billion prime business in exchange for peanuts, is defamatory of the plaintiff. As producer, it's too legal. As same was made without any basis. A declaration that the publication with the banner headline and the picture of the plaintiff that NLA gave away 3 billion prime business in exchange for peanuts was ill-motivated and without any just cause. He's also looking for a declaration that the publication with the banner headline and the picture of the plaintiff that NLA gave away 3 billion prime business in exchange for peanuts was intended to cause public disaffection of the plaintiff, that's Mr. Nimakun, and the former members of the board, and to reduce their image in the eyes of the right-thinking members of the society. An order of court directed that the defendants to pay compensatory damages in the sum of 10 million Ghana cedis to the plaintiff. An order of the court directed to Mr. Suleiman Brahma to apologize and retract the defamatory story published about the plaintiff in the same prominence given to the defamatory publication, cost including legal fees. So the board chairman, Gary Nimakun, is thoroughly upset that how do you go and put my picture there and say that I gave away a 3 billion business when there was no 3 billion business to give. I'm not so sure what the motivation of Suleiman Brahma is, but I'm sure that it wasn't malicious. He's just doing his story. He's doing his story, he's pursuing it. But what hurts me is that they always come back and say, the journalist doesn't know what he's talking about. The journalist doesn't understand this. Journalist doesn't understand mathematics. Journalist doesn't understand finance. Journalists, they say, we don't understand anything. He doesn't understand law. He doesn't understand anything. I mean, since our advocacy, many newsrooms have lawyers now. If you go to everywhere, Joy FM has lawyers, CTFM have lawyers. I kind of like what Suleiman Brahma put out, but I will urge him to calm down. So Suleiman Brahma then put this out on social media. He says, see you in court. We are not the type to be intimidated. More revelations. That's what they always say. That's what, but facts are facts. Facts are facts. KGL is a company that needs to be protected. KGL is a company that is changing the dynamics of lottery in Ghana. KGL is a company that has held up the NLA in a way that the NLA may not have seen today, in the way they have seen today if there was no KGL. KGL is a wholly owned Ghanaian company that must be protected like all Ghanaian companies. Mr. Brahma, thank you very much. But be careful. Have a look at it. And look at it well. Because KGL are a Ghanaian company that needs to be protected. I'll leave it here. I'm sure I have some text messages. Let me look at them. And then Kwabena Dubahini, his matter is now spreading. Politicians are coming to tell the Attorney General that, Mr. Attorney General, it looks like you are wrong. Let's take the text messages first, and then we'll go to the Kwabena Dubahini story. Fatih first. Okay, Fatih, what are people saying?
This is coming from Master Planner Junior from Kintampo, and he says, this is why I always sacrifice my sleep to learn from this program. Paul, God bless you abundantly for this educative program. Facts and figures at work. Abdul Alhaji Bob Sidi also says, we love you, we love watching what you do. May the Almighty Allah strengthen you and protect you. And Kwame Charles also says, I've always learned from this show. If I missed it, it means I've lost Paul. God appreciates your work. And lastly, coming from Kofi Mensah says, so if Ghanaian rich businessmen are thieves, can we safely say that the poor in our society are lazy? Nana Anani also says, J.J. Rollins also did some bad things. I think that's all. Now to you.
All right, so this one is from Nana Prempe. He says, wonderful analysis by Paul. Keep doing the good work. Bernard says, great submissions, but why then did the NPP collapse banks owned by Ghanaian men? This one is from Christian. He says, we are ready for tonight's classes and it's been amazing so far. Thank you, Apostle Paul, for kindly schooling us. Justice also says, Apostle, God Almighty continue to bless you for the good work you are doing and you have always done. The Chief Justice and the government have to give the due process to what is happening in the courts. All right, back to you, Paul.
Well, welcome back. I'm just getting text information. Sorry, viewers, I need to look at this. Somebody is just writing to me. He says that, I am watching you, Paul. Do you know that the latest on the matter you said this evening relating to the petition to the CID has reached the Jubilee House? He says that Mr. Daniel Oforiatta has instituted an Article 146 process against Justice Kulendi and has been received at the Jubilee House. Whoa. This one. Oh, Daniel DM Oforiatta too. This is Article 146. This is a matter that the CID can deal with. So he's petitioned the president for the removal of Justice Kulendi under Article 146. Wow. 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 Okay, I'll just reply the person that I've seen it. Okay, viewers. This is incredible. Citizen Atudazi is with me now. So what is the Kwabena Dubahini trial? Kwabena Dubahini trial relates to some Rambo-style arrest conducted on a former National Security Signals Bureau chief executive, one who had been a very important person to the whole national security apparatus. Kwabena Dubahini is an electrical engineer who sacrificed his great job in London to come and work for the National Communication Authority many years ago. By dint of hard work, he was promoted to become the deputy director. Later on, he wanted to modernize the national security setup. So he proposed the setting up of a National Signals Bureau, which was accepted by all within the security apparatus, including the president at the time. Parliament was brought in to look at a bill that will procure the National Signals Bureau. The bill was properly looked at. It went through all its processes, first reading, second reading, and third reading. The bill was eventually passed. The Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, subsidiary legislation, they all looked at the bill. It was properly passed. He became the first chief executive of the National Signals Bureau. Political office change in 2024. 2025, he was arrested on the assumption that he had spent some money at the National Signals Bureau. The learned Attorney General and Minister of Justice appointed under Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution held several press conferences to impress upon the general public that Kwabena Dubahini has done something very wrong. Lawyers for Kwabena Dubahini, led by the learned Atachian, former Member of Parliament and former Minister, countered the Attorney General's views. They issued a rebuttal and said that Kwabena Dubahini has done nothing wrong. At some point, the Attorney General had not charged Kwabena Dubahini. Lawyers said he should do so. He did so, and the case is now on vacation until next month, October, which is soon. But today, the political parties without representation in Parliament say that they think the Attorney General has taken a misstep, that he has relied on wrong information, as they say, and therefore, they are asking the Attorney General to discontinue the matter. Citizen Atodaze is here to tell us the details. Citizen, good evening.
Good evening, Paul.
You are with the GCPP.
Yes.
What observations have you guys made about the Dubahini trial?
First of all, good evening to your cherished viewers. As political parties, our interest is Ghana first. We want to serve the ordinary Ghanaian, and we think Kwabena Dubahini is also a Ghanaian. In fact, your earlier story is of great interest to me because as a political party, everybody knows that GCPP believes in domestication. And domestication, we believe in the Ghanaian, supporting Ghanaian businesses to be able to thrive. And if we cannot support our own, and we would rather destroy our own, then we might as well forget it. So it's a very interesting topic that I think on any day, all of us needs to be concerned. Some of us want to be consistent, Paul. Over the years, anybody who has followed me, I've been very consistent on governance and why we should raise the bar. Because whatever we do today sets a precedent for tomorrow. So if the Attorney General is walking a path that looks like he's just interested in immediate trial and not getting prosecution, then there is something that we should all be worried about. So our whole press conference was about oral and how the oral committee report that the president informed the whole country that there are 33 cases with watertight evidence, and we are going to see some form of action following up. I mean, for all these months, some of us are wondering what is happening. Because you see, the oral report is not just a political document. We see it as a litmus test as far as our legal regime is concerned. That if we are able to achieve something out of this, then really we are on the path of fighting corruption. Because every CD that is lost, every dollar that is lost due to corruption, result or translate in a hospital not built, a school not completed, or a hardworking Ghanaian losing a job. So we are interested in oral. But if we want oral to work, it should work based on really hardcore evidence and not just a media trial and propaganda. So far, the Attorney General led a press conference. One of the key things the Attorney General said about this Dubahini case was that a cyber security system that was supposed to be procured for the National Signals Bureau, his checks shows that it was not received by the stores. And that was enough grounds to say that, well, it has not been purchased. So there has been some money taken by Dubahini and the family and 2 others. Now, what
did the Attorney General say the equipment? Said the equipment was not procured.
He said what was said to have procured had not been delivered per his checks. And he stated that, you know, normally in the public sector, when you procure something, the stores have to receive it. So in his press conference, and which I can easily refer to, I think clause 13 of his press conference, stated that they realized that this cybersecurity system has not been procured or has not been received by the National Signals Bureau. All right. We have also intercepted a letter from ICS Holding.
I've seen that letter, yes, saying that they supplied the thing and it's currently working.
So if all this is based on that, then what is the Attorney General saying? And Paul, what is even more worrying is that this borders on national security. So as a country, some of us have been involved recently in conferences with ECOWAS, with the Peace Council regarding the porous nature of our borders and the tensions and the security issues hovering our borders. And here we are discussing a cyber security system. If all of us understand what a cyber security system is, I'm not sure we will be interested in putting these things in the public domain and having this kind of public discussion we want to have. Because any app or software that is procured for security, the more it's being discussed in public, the more you reduce its effectiveness. Mm-hmm. So for instance, if I have a phone that can easily record, take pictures, or let's say my spectacle can easily record, take pictures and videos, and I talk about it publicly, then the next person I'm going to meet knows that, oh, this is what I have and will plan for it. But that is not how we want a security system to work. So we want to call on the Attorney General. That you see, we are expecting that you don't engage in propaganda. We want results. So far, every Ghanaian is interested in results from the oral, the work that oral committee has done. And the oral committee members, if you look at the caliber of members who say they have done investigations and handed over these investigations to the Attorney General. And so far, if you look at the selective system that the Attorney General has adopted, we are worried that today it is a Dubahini, tomorrow it might be me. And that is what we want to call on every Ghanaian to be worried today. That you see, these cases that we are doing, how can our Attorney General be wanting to prosecute one person for wrongdoing and is quietly discontinuing cases that also borders on other wrongdoings? Mm-hmm. That is challenging. Mm-hmm. So if you have a case where you cited an issue of a system not delivered, the company has said that, oh, this system has been delivered. So far, we've not heard of the National Security Ministry saying anything about this case. Strangely, the former minister who was in charge of national security is not a party to this case. Mm-hmm. I'm referring to Honorable Kendapa. It's not even a party to this case.
He's not here.
And it's surprising. National Signals Bureau falls under the Ministry of National Security.
Yes.
And everybody knows that when there's a secretariat under a ministry, they do not have a budget. The budget is for the main ministry. So how come a system is being procured without any authorization, or the ministry says they know nothing about it, and they are not even part to support the state or otherwise in this case? These are questions that we want to raise. And first of all, we've seen that there was a shoddy work that was done. Proper checks were not done in relation to this situation, because if the Attorney General had written to ISC to even find out if truly there has been any attempt. But is that the
foundation of the case? That Dubahini was giving money to procure this equipment and he didn't procure it? That's really the foundation of the case?
Yes.
It looks like that.
And the Attorney General said it. Like I said, he made a categorical statement on it. And if you permit me to read, he says,
please read it.
Further investigations have revealed that no cybersecurity system of the description in the January 30, 2020 contract was ever received by Bureau of National Communications or by the successor agency, the National Signals Bureau, or by the government of Ghana. An inventory confirmation from the National Security Secretariat shows that the equipment was never received into stores as is the practice in the public services. This is what being said. But you see, when we want to discuss national security issues, even in terms of bank transactions, national security will not want to go to a bank to withdraw money in the name of just national security. Sometimes they even create pseudo accounts for such purposes. Because there are times where you might need a secret source for certain financial support, which the national security might not have immediately. For instance, President Mahama is traveling to the UN program. His flight cost and all those things. If government says they don't have money, they might get it from somewhere and at the end want to pay back. So that it doesn't become easy for you to track that, oh, it was Paul who loaned government this money. Sometimes these things go through national security and go through different pseudo accounts.
Yeah.
Today, if Kobne Dubahini should have mouth diarrhea and decide to also divulge certain information which has implications on the national security because the Attorney General is already engaging in a public trial, where would we find ourselves? So the Attorney General should be interested in the prosecution and not the public trial. Yes, the public trial that you are doing might win you headlines, but will not win you prosecution. But what are we interested in? We are interested in recovering the loot you so say. Not just the fanfare of it. I am on record when this issue about the NSS came out. I was on record to say that why are we paying ghosts and owing the living? So we really need to find a way, if the situation is true, to recover every money that is lost. The Attorney General came to the public once again, held a public conference, gave us a lot of hope that we are going to recover this. There is a huge scandal. And sometimes he uses words that gets the public interested and has some hope. At the end of the day, no show. So you are tainting this individual, forgetting that our own constitution that he works with, Article 19(2)(c), is clear that you are innocent until proven guilty. By the way he's running his mouth, if we don't take care, everybody walking on the shores of Ghana will be a criminal. And if this continues to be the precedent, tomorrow I will not have the voice to speak against anybody doing the same. And that is why today I want to be on record that when the Attorney General decided to go on this tangent, I spoke as a citizen. And tomorrow, if anybody should do otherwise, and I speak, I will have the temerity to speak. Today it might be a Dubahini. Tomorrow it might be a citizen. I wouldn't wait for that time to happen. Because we seem
Have
to
you
be...
written something to the Attorney General as political parties without representation in Parliament?
In fact, we are going to submit whatever our press conference to him as well.
Okay.
Because, you see, the engagement, we even think that he himself should investigate this situation thoroughly, and he should have done that. Like, for instance, if he had written to ICS, I'm sure this thing that he quoted, I quoted from his press conference, he wouldn't have made such statements. He would have even given further information. Okay, ICS says they've supplied it. So where is it? If stores did not receive it, where is it? All this information.
If it's true that the equipment is currently in use, and President Mahama made reference to some equipment that many people connect to be the Dubahini equipment.
With the
they
IP
now have
addresses
equipment to use IP address to determine where people are. Many people say that that's the Dubahini equipment that President Mahama is referring to.
Exactly.
Okujeto Ablakwa, as foreign minister, said that somebody had written something about him and they were able to track the person.
Exactly.
It appears that's the equipment that they're referring to. So, I mean, the Attorney General really says that the equipment didn't come?
Exactly. So that's why we say it should come again. And this case is getting interesting, and we are talking because he put it out there. Normally, we will say that when issues are before our law court, we should be careful in terms of the discussion around it. But who started it? It is in the court of public opinion.
Why do you take an interest in this matter? You said a bit of that already, but I want to understand. Why does a politician take an interest in this matter?
Paul, it's not even just about being a politician, taking an interest in this matter. But I'm taking an interest in it as a politician because this seems to be a political agenda. Because if you look at the cases that I've listed, okay, there were several cases before the court which were almost far advanced in terms of their trial. You can talk about the Sagleme case. You can talk about the Unibank case. You can talk about the ambulance case involving even Atufosa. How come all these cases have been discontinued? Why didn't they go through their full trial? The Attorney General says it's because of cost. Paul, can you imagine the wastage in this case? Look, I was just thinking about it, that every evidence that is being provided by each party, there are about 5 people involved because it's a Dubahini, the wife, and 2 others. That is 4, plus Attorney General. 5. At least 5 people involved. Any evidence that is being provided should be supplied to all these individuals. So you can imagine, and you are talking about bank statements. I'm hearing that one of the bank statements is about 800 pages. You have to print that for each of the individuals.
And they took away a huge part of it and brought it to the court. I've heard that.
You can imagine,
I hope it's not true.
You can imagine the cost implication in all these things. And these are very sensitive documents where it might end up as well. Because we are talking about issues with national security. So it is important that I should be concerned that our national security is being discussed publicly like this. Where in the world, Paul, tell me, where in the world would you have politicians and publicly and in the public domain, everyone discussing national security architecture, softwares in this manner, except our own? Where? You won't get it anywhere. That people are discussing issues of national security like this. Today, we are opening the Pandora's box. Tomorrow, if a different government comes and decides that they are also going after somebody at the National Signals Bureau, and you remember Dubahini requested, his lawyer requested that all transactions
should be published.
Should be published.
Yes. The courts disagreed.
Yes, because the courts knew that these are sensitive issues that borders on the national security of Ghana.
Yeah.
So that is why I'm saying some of these things we need to position them well. Proper procedure should be followed. Why are we not even considering using the Securities and Intelligence Act, which lays a foundation, a process that you can go through when issues of national security comes up? I think that could have been an avenue that could have been used to deal with this matter. We are interested in loot. If there is a loot, it should be recovered.
Yeah.
So that is why I'm interested in this. I'm interested in oral succeeding because, like I said, that will be a litmus test for our corruption fight. If oral succeeds, if they are doing the right work. So that is why
But you don't want witch hunting.
No. Paul, I always say that if there is a witch, it should be hunted. But it should be hunted with the right process. We should follow due process. Don't come and call somebody a criminal when it has not been proven before a court of competent jurisdiction. That is what our 1992 Constitution says. So today, when I say this and tomorrow I come into government and I'm being called names, I can turn back and say, no, we don't do that because this is the bar that we've set. And that is why we say that the bar of governance, we should raise it up high. We should adhere to the tenets of good governance so that no matter who is in power, we can all follow a line that we'll be proud of as Ghanaians, that we do for ourselves.
Fantastic. Let's look at this text message. It says that, Paul, the fact is that the system that the Signals Bureau is using during their investigations that's one that Cabinet Dubahini purchased. Same helped in the resolution of the Nigerian kidnapping case and is the famous IP address tracking that President Mahama spoke about. That's a text message coming to me. Let's see what you got, Ella. What have you got on text messages?
So there are lots of conversations about oral and their ability to actually do their job. This one is from Alaji Boho. He says, Paul, the funniest thing about the scam called oral is that the AJ told Ghanaians that they were retrieving $21 billion from over 2,000 cases of misappropriation and corruption. 9 months down the line, oral is struggling to die an early death in the grave. If you want to appoint a lawyer as AG, this is what happens. Greetings to Vincent Eko. This one is also from Prince. He says, orals is just for certain. Atta says, NDC creates problems for the country whenever they win power. They are ignorant of many things. Even their lawyers who are supposed to know a lot still fumble and act with impunity. George Dako says, the AG is the problem here. You have discontinued your cases of your own people and are prosecuting your opponents when you don't even have concrete evidence. How far with your media trial? A whole AG couldn't find out if the equipment were purchased or not. That is quite a shame. And lastly, from Jefferson, he says, Paul, you are always on top of these issues. Back to you.
Here says that multitude of suspicion cannot constitute evidence. He quotes the States versus Ali Kasina. I first heard this quote from a venerable Abdul Malik Kwekubaku in 2010 during discussion on prosecution of former government officials under the erstwhile John Ajekum Kufuor-led administration, and also during the prosecution of the case of Republic versus Idrisu Idi, aka MBA Dugu, and others. Later in life, under law of evidence and circumstantial evidence, I realized how important the quotation Kwekubaku had made was. Today, the quotation is what should guide the advocates of oral to understand that the whole exercise was anchored on suspicion, gossip, hate, and in fact malice. What is one to tell the advocates of oral, who are mostly supporters of the ruling NDC, is that oral is meaningless unless it's linked with evidence. Not just evidence, but evidence whose probative value can secure conviction and not mere prosecution. Proponents of the government argued that the presence of the former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu could serve as an impediment to the realization of oral. Thankfully, Madam Tokonu has been removed by John Mahama. So now let's see how oral will work. This from Ibrahim Cooper, Esquire. All right. Yeah. Okay. I have to thank you, Citizen Atodazi, and we'll keep our eyes on the Dubahini trial and see how it goes.
I think everyone should be interested.
It's generated a lot of interest. I've been seeing videos this evening, even from NDC platforms, where they are very worried about the Attorney General's propositions and what is going on.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you see, it will save all of us time and money if the Attorney General decides to withdraw this case, do proper investigation into it, and come again. It will be more courageous. It will be a better option than for him to go and fail. It will be a disaster for this government.
The counsel for Dubahini Atachian doesn't think that there will be a fair trial. He is concerned about a fair trial. So he doesn't think that the Attorney General will fail because he thinks that he may not have a fair trial. We hope that he's wrong and that the courts will be fair. Let's look at this, our next very final bit. We had to drop most of the Sam George issues. We'll come back to it on Thursday in a big way. Don't worry about that. Those of you who saw our videos this morning were asking questions. Is it good morning Ghana now? Good evening Ghana. We did some work last night and put that on television, on Facebook this morning. Sometimes we do that when we have stories on Monday night. We come in here and record them and show it to you on Tuesday morning. Sometimes we do on Sunday night. We're always here doing production every day. We're here from 7 to 7 to 11 to midnight. We're always here. Yesterday, we recorded something on the UN, the United Nations Security Council request by President Mahama and others. It's quite controversial. It's only 7 minutes long. I hope you like it. This is it. The title of this, my very controversial editorial, is that our Afrocentrism must be underpinned by economics, not just politics. The Afrocentrism is underpinned by just politics, not economics. What am I talking about? Last week at the United Nations General Assembly, President John Dramani Mahama, President of Ghana, was applauded for speaking so well, and we agreed that he spoke very well. He was very well attired too. That was very significant in projecting Afrocentrism. It was great. And he spoke about the United Nations Security Council, about democratizing the Security Council, and also, more importantly, getting Africa a permanent seat. Now, that's where I start. This is going to be very controversial. William Ruto also spoke about it. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah spoke about it. Nana Akufo-Addo spoke about it.
about all of these getting the United Nations to recognize Africa as the Security Council. It is important that the Afrocentrism be animated by economics. How do we expect, as Africans, how do we expect to be at the same table with America and Britain and France at the United Nations Security Council and have a veto power when we are consistently begging them for money? How does that happen? It's never going to happen. That's why it hasn't happened since Kwame Nkrumah's time. You are begging the guys for money and you say we should have the equal say at the Security Council. The United Nations, the power play is animated by economics. Why don't we hear African leaders at the African Union say that we are initiating a policy for clean water for all African children by 2030 and work towards it? In 2004, we started CTFM. One of the first stories that was done from the newsroom was about the West African currency, ECO. That was 2004, 20 years ago. And we have still not been able to achieve a single currency for West Africa. We have poverty. Here in Ghana, we are doing school placement. We don't even have enough data. We cannot generate the data to show that somebody who lives in Accra should not be given a day school in the northern region or in the Bonahafo region. We don't know that. If you go to every African capital, every morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, you go to Kenya, Nairobi, you go to Ghana in Accra, Lagos and Abuja, you go to N'Djamena, you go to Mozambique, Harare. Every morning, people are queuing at the American Embassy for visa. And you want to go to the Permanent Security Council with this same America that you are begging him for visa? It's important that the young people in these African countries, especially Ghana, will begin to ask our politicians the important questions. Isn't the important question for our politicians to go to United Nations and be asking for permanent seat for Africa? Africa has come of age. In the year 2050, many children will be from Africa. What are we as Africans doing for those children who will be born? What are the political policies? We don't have clean water. Our schools are not great. Our hospitals are not great. They've not been great for the last 35 years. Every year, our leaders go and sit at ECOWAS, and they don't have a policy that can be successful to say that clean water for all ECOWAS children by the year 2030, and let's focus on it. Agricultural sustenance for all African countries by the year 2035. Let's focus on it. And we have our leaders go to United Nations Security Council and say, give us a permanent seat. It's never going to happen. It is never going to happen unless and until you have fixed the economics of your country, because the power play is determined by economics, not by politics. What did Kwame Nkrumah say? At long last, the battle has ended. And Ghana, our beloved country, is free forever. Yes, we're free, but we are taking money from them. Look at the situation of Ghana, for instance. After applauding our president for the UN Security Council, UN General Assembly speech, the next day, we are jubilating, or the government is telling us to applaud them for restoring, guess what, visa status. 5-year multiple visa status. The foreign minister of Ghana titled it Good News. Ghana's foreign minister says that the best news he has had, which he titles Good News, is that America has restored 5-year multiple visa. And you want this America to give you equal status at the United Nations Security Council. It's never going to happen. And the youth, you the youth, and those of us who are middle age, you are the people who are losing because you are not holding the leaders to proper accountability. What is UN Security Council permanent seat? It's so left-leaning, it's Cold War talk, it's gone, it's past. Show that you have credibility as a country that's able to manage your resources. Demonstrate that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. Donald Trump became president and he cancelled US aid. You are on US aid. You are on World Bank aid. You are on IMF aid. Yes, you can be on aid and still give your people water. You don't have water in your countries. Every morning, African youth are queuing to go and take American visa. And you say that the United States of America and Britain and France should give you the same seat at the Security Council. I don't think it's going to happen. And it should not happen. It will not happen. What must happen is that African countries must learn to harness their resources for the benefit of their citizens. They must be able to show a strong GDP growth. They must be able to show a very low debt to GDP ratio. They must be able to show competence at the work that they are doing. They must show the competence. Some of the African banks have showed competence. And so when you go to London, sometimes you see a Zenith Bank office. The banking sector in Africa, the leadership of the banking sector in Africa have been able to demonstrate global standards. Some great African companies have been able to demonstrate global standards. Steve Masriwa has been able to show. The Nigerian rich man has been able to show. What about the countries that are responsible for the youth? Why are they not able to show it? Why does Aliko Dangote become the wealthiest African sitting in Nigeria? What is happening to the Nigerian government and the Nigerian people? There are great successful banks in Ghana. What is happening to the Ghanaian state? What model is a private bank using in Ghana to be wealthy and successful? That model cannot be transferred to the states, those who control the resources of the people. Why? And sometimes the youth, I wonder, we are all applauding, oh, President Mahama gave a good speech. President Mahama gave a good speech. It's a good speech, but is that what we need? Whether it's by President Mahama, or it's by President Akufo-Addo, or it's by President Kufuor, is that what we need? We can't get water, and our concern is Security Council or whatever. Somebody will say, okay, water is our concern, but Security Council is also not our concern. Security Council will come as a matter of course if you are able to demonstrate that you can harness your resources. You're a powerful country. How are you a powerful country? You're a powerful country because you are rich. For those of us who are middle-aged, just 20 years ago, 25 years ago, Russia was a nobody. When Boris Yeltsin was Russian president, Russia was on its knees economically. Today, Vladimir Putin comes and is able to harness Russian gas resources to supply the rest of Europe gas, and suddenly Russia is a superpower again. Russia is a superpower again, not because of politics, but it's because of economics. And so Russia can stand up today and do the things that they are doing and speak the way they are speaking. Because when Boris Yeltsin was there, Russia could never attack Ukraine. In fact, Russia cannot attack anyone. They cannot even attack a small village of ants. In the days of Boris Yeltsin, they couldn't. They didn't have the wherewithal. They were broke. They couldn't pay for their bills. They couldn't pay for their gas bills. They couldn't resuscitate their military. Today, Russia has managed to harness its gas resources and is able to raise significant amounts of money to keep a full army at war, a war which the United Nations doesn't like. But nobody is able to say anything because Russian gas. When you're a European country, you challenge Russia, they cut off your gas. When will Africa realize that we are so endowed and that 24/7 we should be focusing on the competence of leadership that will allow us to harness our resources rather than talking at UN General Assembly and the Security Council, showboating, bragging, and talking about how we in Africa, we have plenty human beings and we'll have a lot of human beings by 2050 and population without money. You want to go Security Council? I don't know what you think. Share your views. Did I break anything? Please share your views on social media. I thought that was quite controversial. We recorded it last night when we were here, enjoying ourselves with the research. It's been very graceful having you watch Good Evening Ghana up until this time, 13 minutes past the top of the hour at 11 o'clock. It's always a pleasure to come to you with this show. We'll be back on Thursday with a lot more. I'm inviting the blind historian, Dodo, to come in and talk to us about what is happening with the new patriotic party. He put up a video on social media where he's complaining about what is happening at the MPP. Mahamadou Bawumia was in Central Region for the last 2 days. Kennedy Japan is also somewhere. Brian Achampong is also somewhere. Brian is doing well. He's meeting 800 delegates every day at his place in Praiso. Very, very, very hard work that he's doing over there. All right. We'll tell you a lot more about what Brian Achampong is doing in the campaign on Thursday. That's Good Evening Ghana for tonight. Thanks for watching and good night.